Night had fallen. Silence filled the house. The gentle hum of the refrigerator, the distant chirp of crickets, these were the only sounds. I sat alone in the living room, a book resting in my lap. My husband David was away on business, our son Daniel asleep upstairs. It was a peaceful night, the kind that settles over you like a warm blanket. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed, its low gong marking the passage of time. 11 o'clock. I closed my book, placing it on the coffee table. A wave of fatigue washed over me. I decided to make my way upstairs, to my own bed, to the comfort of sleep. As I climbed the stairs, I noticed a light spilling out from under Daniel's door. Strange, I thought. He's usually asleep by now. I paused outside his room, listening for any sign of wakefulness. Silence. Maybe he'd fallen asleep with the lights on again. I knocked gently on the door. Daniel? No answer. I turned the knob and peeked inside. The room was empty. His bed was made. Where could he be at this hour? A knot of worry began to form in my stomach. I checked the bathroom, then the guest room. Empty. Where could he be? My heart pounded in my chest, then I heard it. A faint sound coming from the attic door at the end of the hallway. Whispers. I tiptoed towards the door, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. The whispers grew louder, urgent and hushed. Taking a deep breath, I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The attic was dark, lit only by a single bare bulb. Dust motes danced in the dim light, and there in the far corner, huddled beneath the eaves, was Daniel. He was not alone. Sitting beside him, his face etched with concern, was my stepson, Ethan. Daniel? Ethan? My voice was a mix of relief and confusion. They both jumped, startled by my sudden appearance. Daniel's eyes were red-rimmed, his cheeks stained with tears. Ethan, usually so stoic, looked pale and shaken. "What's going on here?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Ethan looked at Daniel, then back at me. His face contorted in a mixture of fear and shame. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Daniel, his small body racked with sobs, buried his face in his hands. "Ethan," I said again, my voice firm this time. "Tell me what's wrong." He took a deep breath, the words tumbling out in a rush. "It's Daniel," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. He saw something. Something he shouldn't have. "Saw something?" I repeated, my mind racing. "What do you mean?" Ethan hesitated, then glanced at Daniel, who was now watching us with wide, frightened eyes. He saw me," Ethan stammered. With someone." My mind struggled to process his words. "With someone?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Who?" Ethan's gaze dropped to the floor. Someone I shouldn't be with," he mumbled. "Someone. A boy." A wave of understanding washed over me. All the pieces suddenly clicked into place. Ethan's secrecy, his withdrawn nature, the late-night phone calls he'd been receiving, it all made sense now. My stepson, the boy who had always kept his emotions so tightly guarded, was struggling with his own secret. I knelt in front of him, taking his hands in mine. "Ethan," I said softly, "it's okay, you can tell me. I won't judge you." He looked up at me, his eyes filled with tears. "You promise?" he whispered. "I promise," I said, my voice firm with conviction. "We'll figure this out together." And so, in the stillness of that night, in the dusty silence of the attic, Ethan shared his secret. He spoke of his confusion, his fear, his shame. He spoke of the boy he had met, the feelings he had tried so hard to deny. And as I listened, I felt a profound sense of empathy for my stepson. The weight of his trust, the burden of his secret, it was a heavy load to bear. But I was determined to be there for him, to offer him the love and support he so desperately needed. This was my family, and we would face this challenge together. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the cracks in the attic windows, I felt a strange sense of peace. The night had been long, filled with tears and revelations, but it had also been a night of healing, of understanding, of acceptance. The bond between us, forged in the crucible of that shared secret, felt stronger than ever before. We emerged from the attic, blinking in the morning light, a family forever changed. The secret remained, but the fear that had surrounded it had dissipated. In its place was a newfound sense of hope, a belief that love, acceptance, and understanding could conquer even the most daunting of challenges. We had faced the darkness together, and in doing so, we had found a strength we never knew we possessed.